What's up, everybody? It's Greg Burge with Delta Financial, and this is the Be the Difference podcast. This podcast is all about making you a better person in your life and in your business with coaching on sales, leadership, mindset, marketing, everything under the sun when it comes to being an entrepreneur. And we bring on guest speakers. Today, I've got the honor and pleasure of welcoming my good buddy, Mr. Joey Watkins. Joey, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, sir. Happy to be here. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Doing well. It's a great day to have a great day. You know what I'm saying? It's been we've been having a lot of good developments and in the agency, in the company. And so I like where everything's going. I also really enjoy these mortgage leads, bro.
Oh yeah.
These mortgages they're fucking
100% closing over here.
They're fucking good, bro. I've got 6 appointments right after this, almost back to back. And it feels good to be back in the field, man. It does. It's been a long time since I've set appointments. I got on the phone, set appointments, and then sat with consistently with customers. Because I've had clients reach out to me randomly and been like, "Hey, can you help me with this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I can do that." And so I'll have a onesie policy here and there, once or twice a month. But actually starting to order leads, it took 3-4 weeks for those to start flowing in because they're all mail drops. But now this week I've got 15 leads. So it's now full force, kicking out. And man, it's amazing. It's been great ever since it started. And I'm just excited to get back into that rhythm, and have one day a week I can set up a bunch of appointments on a Friday or Saturday, just go out, help a bunch of families, make a 10K day and be all right, deuces, next. So
that's the dream. And also now, you doing it practically on the stage, and so that's a big piece, leading from the front, leading by example. It's one of those things where, you want, as an agent or whatever, whether you're new, you're experienced, you're versed in the business, you always want to, have somebody to turn to lead, because I've been working with you for quite a while, but I'll still, even before we jumped on here, I'm like, hey, agent just asked me this, this carrier work, right? And so we feed off each other, but that, the live dials that we've been doing, and then, you jumping on and doing them too, it's really, really pulling people together. So it's been a really cool movement here as of late.
Yeah, that's actually been a game changer. And so I like that you're bringing that up because we can talk a little bit about that. There are 4 levels when it comes to disseminating information. When it comes to a management or leadership perspective, there's 4 different ways. So the most common way is a mass dissemination of information. So if you were going to do a mass message, a company-wide email, a podcast, speaking on stage to hundreds or even thousands of people, that is an inspirational message. It's meant to inspire, right? And it's meant to get as many people as possible. So there's no cap on the amount of people. However, its effects are not as great in terms of actually getting people to move, right?
Of interaction.
You will get some people to move, but in order to get as many people as you want to move, to really have that deep connection with somebody in order to help them and guide them and mentor them, it doesn't have that same effect. So it's more about efficiency. And then next is training. So then you have training that's going to be anywhere between 25 to 75 people, something like that. So you have a larger group where this is not just a one-way communication, but 2-way communication. So they can also speak to you. They can ask questions, usually in a classroom setting or a Zoom training session where people can actually speak. So that will actually get a little bit more people moving, but not as many as if you were to do a small group. Okay. Then you have your coaching session, and last is apprenticeship. And so coaching is that group of 2 to 12 people. Really, you want to probably stick 6 to 10, honestly. And with that, that's where you start to get more into the nitty gritty. That's when you start to actually understand each different person, have them all kind of participate within a group session, all learning from each other plus learning from you, and getting that information and getting direct guidance on like, hey, this is how you move forward, and you guys are working together as a team. And then that apprenticeship, which is the slowest but the most effective to get people moving, is that one-on-one. It's that, hey, you and I are going to walk hand in hand, right? And with this concept that we're talking about right now, we decided, like, hey, we have a lot of inspirational content. We have the podcast right now, right? That anyone can watch, and it's online forever. So like people can go back and watch it. We have the town hall that talks to everybody. We have president's letter every week. We got newsletter every week, right? I'm starting to speak on stages. I spoke on the first stage last month. I speak on my next stage in a couple of months in June, and then another.
And you're doing a virtual thing too, or something, right?
Yeah, that's the virtual. So I'll be at 8% Nation virtual
Gotcha.
that I'll be speaking at, and then 8% Nation live in Dallas at Statler. I'll be on that stage as well. So, so that's all the inspirational stuff, right? So then we have our trainings, we have our weekly trainings where it's open communication, it's two-way communication. We do try to promote that. We try to have individuals come and talk and have those deep conversations so that everyone is participating, and you find them participative leader or learning experiences, the amount that's taken away is exponentially increased, right? So if you have passive learning experiences where you're just kind of sitting there listening, watching, maybe taking notes, on average you're going to retain about 10 to 20% of that. But when you participate, when you actually jump in, you get excited, you're enthusiastic about what you're learning, you're pitching in, right? That 10 to 20% jumps to 80 to 90% on what you take away and what's retained in your long-term memory. So we try to encourage that as much as possible. Then we have but then we had coaching, which really was like individual calls with me and you and like Zach and Kevin, and then you guys would have individual calls with like your core group, right, where you were like really handling them. But we did not have an apprenticeship program,
Right.
and it just didn't exist. And so it became very apparent, like that's what we're missing. And so we implemented this a couple weeks ago. Why don't you talk a little bit about the apprenticeship program and like how we started it and then how it's been for you?
Let me get a little light in here real quick. There we go. A little better. So big thing with me is, I do three out of those four levels. Obviously, I'm not, from the company perspective, pushing, to the masses. But regarding my team, I do a weekly meeting where we have everybody, come in and we're all just bouncing off each other, exchange information. Usually have an agenda prepared so we stay on topic. And then that next level down, I have a core group that I specifically chose that are very like-minded, very, I guess, situationally in a very similar environment, either, financially or, either part-time or, stay at home, parents, whatnot. And we worked through that. And then, so this extra apprenticeship piece it just kind of fell right in line because I was already kind of doing a couple of those layers. But we started with our first agent, and it was an agent that, part-time agent, full-time mom, has a little one, but wanted the work from home perspective, and anybody watching this, they can probably relate to it. A lot of people do. But, I see a lot in her, but it's just kind of that extra attention and that push. And so it's made a huge difference. Working one-on-one, what we've done is we've literally blocked off time from, noon to 4, pretty much 3 to 4 days a week for the last 2 weeks. And what we've done is we've been in a Zoom room together. We've both been working, making our own dials, doing these different things. And I'm giving her feedback. She's able to listen in on, full-blown appointments that I get to take with, clients and whatnot. She's been able to, really get a ton better on the phone, pushing through objections. She got to, pretty much verbally listen to me push through, I want to think about it, which everybody hates, and close the deal past that yesterday. So it's been very, I mean, the feedback's amazing, and it's really incited that particular agent to volunteer more, to do live dials. And, a lot of the agents from my team have been, good to the people that have been doing that. And it's the camaraderie and it's the closeness. But that apprenticeship scenario, you really get to understand somebody one-on-one the more time you spend with them. And what we do, obviously, you're at home, I'm at home. This interaction can be very difficult, if you let it. But if you engage with people, using technology the way we can, it can be just like you're sitting there in a room with them. And so it's been really beneficial, and I'm excited about it. So, with that agent is right there on the precipice. They're really getting their feet wet. So the goal is we don't just work with this one agent and then we just, okay, you're good now, we're going to go to someone else. The goal is we get to a point of comfortability with that agent, but we still interact with them daily. But we're focusing, so we're stair stepping. We're focusing, we're going to bring one more in, and then we're going to work as a smaller group that's going to slowly grow step by step. And it's already have, I call it the consistency team. That's what our group chat is in our phones. So it's how we report, what's our daily file? Did we complete it? Did they check in with me? What's their schedule look like for the day? All these different things. It holds them accountable, and it's something that, I don't have to shove down their throat. It's something that they want to give for themselves, and because they also respect my time and respect, the effort that I'm putting into them. And so there's that reciprocity, and it's really, really made a huge difference. And, this is only week 2. So really excited for, I already have in my head, all right, who's the next one we're going to, and then we're going to pan to this, and then we're just going to continue to feed off each other and slowly bring more agents into the mix, and that's going to be the standard of how we move forward. So,
yeah, no, so I like how you're breaking this down, and for those of you that are watching or listening, what in a basic sense, what we're doing is when we get any new agent or any current agents that are having trouble writing business, we're basically just sitting down with them hand in hand, getting on Zoom and actually setting appointments with them and saying, hey, we're going to dial with you and we're going to set appointments with you. And so that way I can hear you set appointments. You can hear me set appointments. We're going to do it together. We're going to book up a full schedule for the next 2 days, setting 10 to 15 appointments on the next 2 days. And then over those next 2 days, we're going to run those appointments with you. We're going to sit down. We're going to go to those appointments. We're going to run through them with you in order to make sure that you're getting sales as quickly as possible. You can see firsthand. And so the way the process works when you do an apprenticeship is it's 4 stages when it comes to an apprenticeship. And so the first stage of an apprenticeship is called unconscious incompetence. Okay. And what that means is that I'm going to do it while you watch it. Okay. So you don't know what you don't know. So all you're going to do is watch me. Right. And then eventually you come to conscious incompetence where you're starting to watch him like, man, I'm starting to realize what I don't know. So now I'm going to do it, but you're going to help. So you watch me dials. Now you're going to do dials. Okay. You're going to do dials with me. Hey, you've watched me do a couple of these appointments. And now you're going to jump in. You're going to do the intro to the appointment. And as soon as you get to a point where you need help, I'm going to jump in. We're going to tag team. Right. So I do, you help. Next is called conscious competence. This is where you're starting to learn. You do realize that you know what you're doing and you've seen it enough times and you can do it, but you're not completely there. It's not like firing on all syllables. This is, you're going to do it. I'm going to help now. So you're doing most of it. I'm just here to help. I may pitch in whenever you need it. Then this is where the training wheels on the bike are starting to come off. Right. And then the last phase is called unconscious competence. And that is, you're doing it. I'm just watching.
Yep.
Usually from afar. And that's when you're doing wheelies. This is when you're like jumping rams. This is when you're good and you can be good all time. Now this process takes time, but this is how you actually duplicate agents or duplicate people to be more like you. right? So I'm trying to duplicate people to be able to write as much business as they want to write, as long as they know the fundamentals of sales,
Correct.
right? And the fundamentals of my process. That way I can teach them, I can show it to them, they can watch, I can continue to do it with them while they help and pitch in. I could start taking over the reins while I watch and help. And then finally they're good to go. And that process for some people takes a week, it takes 2 weeks, might take 3 weeks. It just depends on the person. So it's really getting to that level where they can operate on their own. They've got the belief, they've done it, they know what needs to happen, and now they're starting to get the daily discipline of doing the stuff that they need to do every single day in order to be successful, in order to make the commissions they want to make, in order to have the sales they're trying to get, and hit the metrics of whatever is feels comfortable for them, right?
And the big
So
thing too, we utilize a tracker. We're watching metrics. We're seeing what the activity is because we talked about this before we got on. It's effort and production are two different things. There's 168 hours in the week. You can work 150, run yourself ragged, and you can get zero production from it. And if I say, okay, well, what's your activity? If you literally tell me that, oh, well, I dialed this many hours and I set this many appointments and you didn't sell anything, that says two things. One, you're being stubborn, going at it on your own, and you don't need to because you're only hurting yourself. The other piece is you're probably lying if you can't give me numbers. And so the big thing is it's all trial and error. And there's so many people when they get into the industry, not just here, but sales in general. Why be hard-headed? Why be stubborn and say, oh, I can do it, when you literally have an upline that wants to help you succeed, doesn't want to take your money, doesn't want to do split deals, but genuinely wants to work with you for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, get you on your feet. But if you're fighting that process, then you're only hurting yourself. I mean, when I came into this, I've always done very well in sales. I fell on my face, like completely shit the bed with everything, because I walked into this industry. Oh, well, I was the best doing this, and I was head honcho, blah, blah, blah. I came over here, and you had to break me. And I had to finally sit down, shut up, listen, and go, okay, I'm not the best, but I know I need help. I don't know what help I need, but I know I need something.
mm-hmm.
And until I started tracking those things and actually getting in the field and not closing appointments and, getting hung up on the phone, none of those things changed for me until I fell on my face. Well, I tell every agent I work with, I went through those struggles. I did that. Let me help you as much as possible to mitigate that, but move forward expeditiously in that direction. But people, they're still fight it until they get a little taste of it. Well, when you get a taste of defeat, you do one, two things. You either fold, like what is it? The 92% of people that don't make it in this industry, or you become one of the 8% that actually stick to it, push through the hard stuff, and then it's easy. Everybody that knows me in this industry knows that I do not like the phone. But I'm gonna tell you right now, if I worked at a salary job, and I believe Zach said this, or Eric, if I worked in a salary job and you told me if I didn't have 20 appointments booked by the end of the week, Friday at 5 p.m. when I leave, I wouldn't have a job. I'd have 40 appointments booked because I got to eat and I got bills to pay. So if you treat it in that fashion, it's going to work. You put the numbers in your favor.
Yeah.
If you buy 10 leads and they're Facebook, they're run through, blah blah whatever, you can call them. You might have a little bit of success, but be intentional. Put the numbers in your favor. Don't buy 10. I mean, I'm not saying buy 1,000, but I mean that helps too if you can. But the more opportunity you have, the more at bats you get, the quicker you're going to figure out how to hit a home run rather than strike out. But you got to strike out to learn how to swing the bat correctly to move forward.
Yeah. So, I'm the proponent that a lead's a lead, kind of. It's not that there's, there are leads that perform better. Okay, but then when you look at the cost comparison between those, and cheaper leads that don't prefer, like as long as you grind it, you can get the same ROI basically.
Well, and right, and that's even my title, out of career school as the director of agent development. When new agents come to the business, I am not directing them to sign up to spend 50, 60, 70. That's the dumbest thing you can do. You will have somebody come in, be all over it, and then they'll fall off a week later. You got to do sets and reps. You got to fall on your face. So we go cheek B leads. We're gonna get on the phone, and if we can turn a couple things out of it, boom. We didn't go in crazy with investment. It's not buy more leads. It's not go take out a credit card, max it out, and do that. That's just a bad idea. You work with what you can, but with what's in front of you, you run that shit like your life depends on it, and then that will create dividends. 5, 10, 15 fold. You take that, reinvest, and you get better by learning the craft by doing it. And then as time goes on, then you shift to a more exclusive, higher intent, more expensive lead source, because once you have mastered it, which we all know how we feel about that, there's not a real thing, but once you have the comfortability and your numbers and your ratios are justifying it, okay, let's step up to this, give this a go. And you might be able to spend more money on leads, get a better ROI, and actually do less time in the field. It all just depends on what works for you, but everybody's different. I got agents that solely do door knocks. I got agents that solely do MP leads. I got agents that only do, Razor Ridge or Facebook or, all kinds of different things. But they had to go through trial and error to figure out what their niche was going to be. Mm-hmm. And that does take time. It does take money. But the problem is most people go, oh, well, that one didn't work this time, so I'm going to jump over here. It's the worst thing you can do. You keep pushing. You keep intent weekly. And my standard is you always have something new coming in, but don't throw away or discount what you have that you haven't reached yet. You have the new coming in, you still supplement with what you currently have. You work your warm market, you get your referrals, and you do all that at once, and it creates a really good flow. And you can actually say, oh, well, I average 5, 10K a week every single week because I get up, I do this, and this is my standpoint, and I stick to the schedule. And that's how it works. Problem is most people, they get overwhelmed. So that's the whole piece of the apprenticeship where we're seeing it so quickly, the mentality, the engagement, the intent of the agent, having that focus and having that accountability on them, because the relationships that I have with the agents I work with, they don't want to let me down. And it makes me give that back as well. I want to be as available as possible, try to help. And so that's the thing. And everybody on my team has access to my schedule. If there's a white space, plug me in. Let's go. And that's the way I look at it.
No, I've actually been very impressed with the results of the mentorship program. We started the apprenticeship program that we have implemented over the last few weeks. We're seeing a lot more agents that weren't writing, weren't doing anything, that are coming out and finally starting to set appointments, buying leads, setting appointments, making sales.
And even if they haven't sold anything, they're getting engaged with others for help.
Yeah.
So they might not have made a drastic, amount of sales yet, but they're getting those reps in that they were not getting before. Yeah. And that's the only way you grow in this business. You have to do it.
So fantastic, man. Well, is there anything else that you want to add before we close this bad boy out?
No, I just always err to the side, be the difference. And as always, keep I'm very big on, book of business, referrals, stay with your people. I don't even like to say, oh, I'm going to call you once a year to check on your policy and blah, blah, blah. I literally have a running book of names that I probably call once every month and a half, 2 months or so. And every time we just touch base, have a phone call, might be 10, 15, 20 minutes. And I would say 95% of the time, they go, hey, I've been meaning to give you a call anyway. I need you to get with so-and-so and blah, 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 blah. And it's the easiest way to get referrals sometimes. So, but Yeah, you kind of put me on the spot, but that's about all I got.
I like it. I like it. So thank you so much for taking part in this paying attention and listening to the Be the Difference podcast. I ask a favor of all of you, take a few minutes, like literally 60 seconds, to rate, review, and subscribe to the content. Share it with people, put it on your social media stories, tell friends about it if you learned anything from this, or if you're interested to finding out more about the coaching program. You can actually find out more just by scheduling a call with us. Go to deltafinanciallife.com. You can ask for us to reach out and contact you. And we'd love to have a conversation, a one-on-one, to kind of talk more about how we can get agents, on average, brand new agents coming into our company, write business within 2 weeks and have their first commissions paid out to them. And because of the way that we've been doing our training and our coaching for all brand new onboarding agents. So, share this content. It means the world to us. It means everything. I know it only takes you a minute, but it means everything to me. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much for taking part. Until next time, we'll see you. Deuces. Be the difference.